coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething. Like the street.
Go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them. With the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
But hey, that's just a theory. A theory.
He's a smee. He's a smee. He's a smee. He's a smig. Hey. If I saw this movie on a plane, I would still walk out. This trailer makes me want to sit on the TV and look at my couch. I paid nothing to watch this trailer, but I already want my money back. Coming to a theater near you, me, is that a threat? They should have made Rachel CGI instead. Mark Brown and the 7 Discord mods. The CGI looks much better when I turn my monitor off. Disney invites you and I must politely decline. I'm rooting for the poison apple. Why is Lord Farquaad playing Snow White? This movie should come with a disclaimer. No dwarfs were harmed, but your childhood might be. I haven't seen something self-implode this hard since that Titan submarine. Mirror, mirror on the wall. As a German I claim cultural appropriation. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Snow White in the 7 CGI abomination. Making the dwarfs look like a PS1 hack rig was a bold choice. Rachel Sadler looks like a medieval squire boy. Marvel's lost $237 million. Snow White, hold my beer. Disney used to make people famous. Now it ends acting career. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Why the seats are empty in Cinema Hall. Mirror, mirror on the wall. What's the biggest Disney flop of all? Shut it. Shut it.
Power of 1, the power of 2, the power of...
Down to Buffer Road, Bleed 182.
The power of 1, the power of 2, the power of...
Let's take some dope.
I am like,
I have had hallucinations on weed before.
if I get that high,
Them babies, Alyssa. Disabilities. I wanted to finish Elden Ring, goddammit.
He's a piece of shit.
the reason why DEI was put in place in the first place was incredibly disingenuous racism and sexism, people being discriminated against. This was put in place to try and
Disillusion young dudes.
white men or straight people. Someone's getting a job over them that doesn't deserve it. People are missing out on jobs that deserve it more than a person who's getting it because they're a woman or because they're black. But these people are making a lot of money.
Engines roar through the ash gray skies. The wasteland burns, but hope won't die. Every screen's a twisted lie, built to break us, make us comply. They poison the heroes, rewrite the tales, turn legends to dust, leave us frail. But we're not done, we won't bow down. Through the wreckage, we'll take the crown. Steel hearts ignite, fire in our veins. Freedom's calling, breaking the chains. They can't erase what we already know. HyperDrive now,
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good whatever time it is, wherever the heck you are, ladies and gentlemen, and nothing in between. Welcome once again to another voyage of discovery, racing through the wastes of the internet to the farther reaches of sanity on a never-ending quest to rid the universe of absolute bollocks. Before we set off, please ensure that you keep your brains inside the vehicle at all times and your eyeballs firmly screwed to the screen for your own damn safety. Now let's see who we got today riding alongside us. We are here already. We've got, wow, hello, JJJ Jr. is already here. Matt S says, wow. Is that for the intro? Thanks. Or one of the other videos, some of which I didn't make. What else? Kagwana's here, of course, as well. Piranha Pout is here. Man, you guys, I can't keep up. Says, sup everyone, just got finished laughing at yet another Snow White roast. I mean, they don't end, do they? Because they just keep coming, because the film is coming, and it's just like Assassin's Creed. We're going to roast the hell out of that again as well today. Seems that there's been a bit of an info drop from an insider as to why they have delayed the game so much, and actually it might, because I don't know yet, go ahead and confirm a lot of my suspicions. So we'll see how that goes. Kagwana is saying like the stream, which is absolutely right.
Like the stream.
Why not? Roger Nichols is here as well. Says hail to you all here today, and hail to you too, sir. Stinrox is here, of course, and that's lovely. Who else have we got so far? Wow. Oh, we've even got some supers already. What is going on there? That's a nice surprise. Who's doing the vocals for the intro? An AI, frankly. I wish I had time to sit and record all this music myself. I actually could, technically. The only thing I wouldn't be able to use a keyboard to record would be the guitar, but I have a guitar and the right cable, so I could do that. But, that would take hours and hours and hours. It's just easier to carefully teach an AI how to make what I want. So there's that. And there we go. I guess, Tomby's here too. Chat music for the win. Yeah, they're great. I only just found out about them, and they are absolutely slapping the hell out of it. Now, of course, as I said, we have already received some super chats, and that is astonishing. So thank you very much already to Gogeta for £2. Legit currency right there. Says, sweet baby partner working on new gears of war. Oh no, that would be surprising. If you got anything related to that, you can go to the Discord. There's a channel on my Discord that's called Topics of the Will. I believe it was named. I didn't name it. But yeah, you can drop anything that you think I might want to cover in there. I'll be very appreciative, as research takes time. If any shortcuts that I can get will be gladly taken into consideration. So thank you very much for that. And of course, thank you very much as well for the £2. Feels like home. Love it. And then, of course, we got James Opp, who asks for £5. What got you banned on X, Will? You say one of the naughty 80 ban words? 80 ban words? I don't know. Actually, no. For all the shit I say on X, and I am a little bit less filtered on X than I am on here, for obvious reasons. No, I posted that... basically, I was sick of Airbagged, that fucking moron, the Alyssa Simp dude, and I was tired of him and his little band of crusaders having a go at the real Game Awards. And I just replied, basically, I can't remember the exact wordage anymore, but the closest thing I can come up with to it was, I said that Airbag is an idiot, and his friends are rods or whatever, to avoid saying outright. And then I said that any real gamer who watched that show, all they saw was a fun fan show and a hell of a lot of bright future on the horizon, or promise of a bright future. it was one of the most positive tweets, and it got flagged for quote unquote violent language. I mean, I read it back when I got the notification, and as far as I was aware, if you delete the tweet, then nothing will happen, right? Because I was going to appeal it, because I was like, well, I haven't done anything wrong here. But then I had to sit and write like why I didn't feel like it was blah, blah, blah. And I really didn't feel like having my X account limited or banned while I was waiting for them to reply. So I figured, okay, well, to get my X account back, it'll be faster to just delete the damn tweet, right? Not that I'm in the habit of doing that sort of thing, but whatever, I want to use my account. As soon as I deleted it, it said, thank you. You can use your account again in 7 days. I was like, what the fuck, Elon? So there, yeah, that's why I'm banned on X. Or, I mean, well, that's how I'm banned on X, but there it is. So I'm not able to use X again until Monday, I think. Monday, sometime on Sunday or Monday. So there you go. Absolutely sucks. But thanks for asking the question anyway, because, yeah, not enough people are aware of that. And especially after I told Smash JT he wanted to share my money video. And I said, yeah, please go right ahead, because he knew I was banned. So at least he got the message out to a hell of a lot of people, hell of a lot more people than I could have. So, and that video went sort of mini viral, which was really nice as well. And I read everything everyone was saying, a lot of positive comments in it. So I'm really appreciative of that. And yeah, so that basically is the whole story. It's very frustrating. I can't even, the weirdest thing is even DMs, I can't actually use emoji reacts. You know, like you can click dots on the message, the DM, and do a quick react to it. I can't do that. I can't send images. I can't send any kind of attachment whatsoever. It is beyond bonkers. And I don't understand why it affects DMs as well. There's so many little weird things you can't do. Can't even bookmark tweets. Like, I literally am in read-only mode. Fuck you, Elon. I mean, nothing. I like Elon. I'm a fan, you know, I'm a supporter of what he's done, but fuck you for that, buddy. That is horse shit. Seems strange to play that after a massive rant, but thank you, James. I appreciate you there. As more people are joining us, wow, 32 already. That is big. This stream is gathering steam. It's really quite impressive. I'm touched, guys. There you go. Okay, who else is here? UK Gamer has rocked up. Lovely. Sebrew 1138. I assume that's a reference to THX, which is what I was alluding to the other day as well. And all right, I think we are up to date. Oh, Mad Old Crow is here as well. And Rio. Hello, and welcome back to HyperDrive time. We got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today. But first, of course, if you are liking the stream, then like the stream, because it helps.
Like the stream.
Yes, it helps to pick up some lost souls along the way. Your in-flight entertainment can be found by hitting that join button and joining the Grift Force to get hold of emojis, including the omnipresent and ever-popular spear emoji. It's funny because it's the one I work the least hard on. Always the way. And if you have any questions, comments, or you just want to pull over for a second, don't forget the driver does take bribes. Don't forget to take tip the driver. With that said, we have got a lot to talk about today. I want to cover a bit of Assassin's Creed stuff. And also there was a video I know Hypno was talking about and reacted to yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to see any of that. And I'm quite curious. I completely misinterpreted what it was even about as well. And I was too busy recording videos. So I want to have a look at this and see what goes on. But yeah, first of all, Assassin's Creed Shadows is very much on the horizon now. We are only weeks away from its release, and seems like all bets are predicting a colossal flop. This is one of the most important games that has released in terms of the context, the meta-narrative of AAA as an industry and its impending fate. Will it die? Will it not? In fact, that's why I put that as the poll. And so far, we've got two options. Like, will it burn like tissue soaked in oil or petrol? And or nah, that's stupid. Right now, 100% are saying the AAA industry will burn. And you know my stance on this. Fine. Let it burn. I don't care. I got enough games in the backlog already. I do not need more AAA games really that badly. So if it will burn, then so be it. I'm quite ready to say goodbye to it. And if hell, I mean, indies will carry us and they'll become better because people's attentions will flock to it. In fact, if anything, the AAA industry is becoming kind of a tumor in the flow of decent entertainment in gaming. So there's that. But anyway, we've got a lot of shit to sift through on the internet today, although it's not all bad. I think actually it's going to be quite a positive stream. So let's get into it. First of all, I wanted to just have a bit of a laugh at this tweet that was shared by Declaration of Memes at Liberty Cappy. You're probably aware of this user. It says, of all the things that never happened, this never happened the most. The Black Scandinavian Vikings. Seems like it was shared by someone who truly believes that it was actually a thing. And there you go. You've got a nice render here, probably using AI, of a bunch of people that never existed. I mean, it's so ridiculous, this. This is one of those things. It's a bit like the lesbian witch covens and things like that are trendy at the moment. Black Vikings. Guys. Seriously? Do you really believe that the people from one of the northernmost countries on this planet, historically famous for having some of the whitest people you have ever seen, whiter than Europe, whiter than the UK, whiter than Canada, you're talking about Norway here, and you think that they looked like Africans? Are you fucking mental? I mean, really? What the fuck? It's just complete bollocks. There's no way this ever happened. Anyway, there were some pretty funny replies to it, of course, because we've got here, right, because who knew Vikings were auditioning for a new superhero movie? Brilliant. Love it. Beautiful. Netflix edition. We've got a world of pure imagination. Lovely. I love the internet. I love the internet sometimes. Great meme, though, funnier than heck. No wonder they're fucking extinct. Weather like that and shirtless. That's, you see now, that's what we call logistics. That's what that is. Dude like this will claim that black people invented everything, settled everywhere, and pioneered every culture, but also that white people somehow rule the world and oppress them. He's a racist. Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it? It's very unlikely that that we just sort of popped up out of nowhere and took over the world. No, really, no. What actually happened? And I remember having a conversation with this about this with an African fella in a bar several years ago, and he actually gave me a copy of the book by the guy who wrote Homo Deus, but the one before that, it's like the full and complete unabridged history of man over 20,000 years. And I really enjoyed reading it, but we all agreed that things like racism and various things like that are actually, I hate to say it because you know, it doesn't sound particularly wonderful to say, but this is absolutely natural. When you can sort of call back to your culture's earliest years, we're talking tribes, right? We're talking roaming tribes that settled in places where they would almost inevitably come into conflict with the next local tribe and start killing each other until eventually they discover a third tribe that hates both of them. And thus they would join together, form a common enemy, and become a larger settlement until eventually that conflict was restored, at which point then they'd become maybe a village or a town, and then they'd go to war with the next village or town until that became a county, which eventually became countries, which eventually became continents or unified alliances of countries at least, and so on and so forth. It is 100% natural human nature, not even just human nature, animal nature, to fear what you don't know. Xenophobia is nature incarnate, because potentially anything that you encounter in this world may be trying to kill you, especially back then before we had civilization. Yes, to the people who are asking what's up with Dad of the Fans, that is my actual father. He said he has a mate who believed Scandinavians were space invaders. That actually is not that surprising. He was a jazz musician, and a lot of people in the music industry are leftists, frankly. Clueless, deranged, brainwashed leftists. They can't even help themselves. So yeah, that's not even 1% as strange as some of the things he's told me about his friends over the years. But yeah, it's funny to see this, because they really do just continue to push this narrative. And this is clown world. This is the clown world that we talk about. When we're talking about clown world, we're talking about this. Black Cleopatra, Black Scandinavians. There was a British history book released recently that tried to attribute all of British history to Africans. So then where the fuck did the white people come from? Literally outer space? Is that what we're supposed to believe? Is it? Or is it more likely that what we suggested multiple times, or what was suggested in the book that African fella gave me, is actually true? That people, whether they came out of Africa originally or not, we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of years, of course, would have migrated to places where things were different, conditions were different. And of course, if you have to hide where you live in caves for warmth from cold weather, you are not exactly going to be filling your skin with melanin. But you know what? Living in a freakishly cold place that isn't very conducive to comfortable living is going to make you have to rely on your wits and your creativity to be able to survive. Problem-solving skills begin to develop. So is it really that much of a stretch of the imagination that these people, these white people who evolved living in harsher climates, would end up becoming better problem solvers than their contemporaries, and ultimately end up having the skills, ability, wits, knowledge, experience, and tactics to be able to largely take over the world? It's just a theory. I don't know the answer to that. I wasn't there, but it makes sense to my brain. But then, hey, maybe I'm just a massive, 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 massive fucking racist. Who knows?
With the black kid dresses like a writer. Does he know anything?
You are racist.
So there you go. That's how we are right now. We're dealing with the Black Vikings and everything else that is part of Clown World. But you know, it's not all bad. But it does also go some way to explaining why these morons would think, well, it makes perfect sense for there to be an African samurai, despite the fact that the Japanese are a very conservative culture. They were, until recently, and maybe still are in part, extremely jingoistic and xenophobic. You know, and don't get me wrong, I'm not using xenophobic as a slur like the left do. I'm saying that they are, you know, they have a natural and probably quite healthy response to outsiders. Maybe a little unnecessary in this day and age, but hey, there it is. That's what it is. And so that is, you know, obviously led to people like Thomas Lockley, who is obviously a zealot. He's a brainwashed leftist thrall who wrote a book about an African samurai because he wanted there to be an African samurai, and he heard about Yasuke, and it turned out that Yasuke came with the Jesuits, I think, and spent 15 months in Japan. 15 months in the Edo period of Japan. Does that sound like long enough to learn, you know, Bushido? Does that sound like long enough to build a reputation? Maybe, you know, as is reported, Nobunaga met Sasuke. Sasuke. Fuck. I knew I was going to do that one day. Yasuke saw him as a curiosity because of his brown, very, very brown skin, allegedly. And thought, wow, this guy's cool and probably a bit stronger than your average Japanese person, but not strong enough to be able to kick him through fucking gates like we were watching yesterday. Like, I can kick a man 20 feet because of what? Asians are brittle and black people are super duper strong? No, that's the narrative working again. And there you go. I mean, it's you know, he's like, okay, well, this guy probably then was a samurai. No, he was a retainer, allegedly, which means he probably got to carry a sword. Would he have been running around in gold armor? Fuck no. Why would they give riches, wealth, and all that shit to a bunch of people they don't know and that aren't Japanese? They're not going to get land, lordships, or titles or any of that stuff. And yeah, I bet he thought The Last Samurai was the best role that Tom Cruise played. Yeah, actually, yeah. And there you go. So a lot of people will not talk about this stuff. I know I saw CFH90 there saying I'm spitting facts most people don't like to consider. No, I'm a fairly deep thinker. I tend to obsess over little things like this that irritate me. I try to understand how and why things become the way they are. And I even try to understand why a massive assortment of people could be so easily convinced of black Scandinavian Vikings or a black samurai in an incredibly jingoistic country. You know, it's probably like more like Nobunaga was trying to conquer the country with all the other feudal lords, or against all the other feudal lords, and sort of just decided, wow, this guy's a curiosity and he's probably quite strong. I should definitely keep him around. But, you know, a super legendary samurai, no. And then, of course, you know, we had the whole thing that happened on Wikipedia, which really pissed me off. I don't think anyone talks about it enough anymore. It really frustrates the shit out of me that one of the first stories that came out about Assassin's Creed Shadows was the fact that Wikipedia was being changed. Because there used to be a sentence on Wikipedia on the Yasuke bit about, and the first sentence it was, while there is absolutely no evidence to support the theory that he was a samurai, ... and that was wiped. Then it was brought back. Then it was wiped. Then it was brought back. Over 2 or 3 days, this went round and round and round until eventually the revisionists won. Sadly, as far as I'm aware, anyway. I haven't checked for a while, admittedly. It might be back. But there you go. Sword carrier and retainer. Yes, exactly. And not in any way a fucking samurai. Just, it's not going to happen. And even if it did, even if he was the most unbelievably talented warrior that Japan had ever seen, which doesn't make sense because why would he have been dropped off in Japan in the first place? He still ain't going to have the skill at Japanese combat to be able to go toe-to-toe with another samurai, especially when he was only there for a year and a quarter. I live in a world very different from the one I grew up in. I live 7,000 miles from where I was born, right? A year and a quarter into living in the Philippines, I didn't know shit. I still had no fucking clue about anything. That might be unique to me. Maybe I'm just a fucking moron. But I'm thinking, no. I'm thinking, you know, I hadn't become like a landowner or any kind of person in a position of power, despite the fact that I had actually met a few powerful people. No, this is not how the world works. Not now, not ever. Anyway, James Up has chimed in for $5, and thank you. Says, I would say it's more necessary in this day and age when everyone's hell-bent on rewriting history and replacing it with lies. Yes, absolutely right. It is extremely important these days to develop reliable data and, you know, sort of at least a set of beliefs and practices that you can rely on, and also to question yourself, to criticize your own thinking, to argue with yourself, which I excel at. This is why sometimes I appear like I have all the answers, even though I don't. I'm very often having an argument internally with myself, trying to disprove anything I say before I say it so that I don't come across as a fucking moron. And there you go. And yeah, James Up, thank you for that. It is important to have what we call critical thinking, especially in this day and age where you're being lied to on a daily basis and systemically. I know I hate to use that term because it's one of their terms, but there ain't no such thing as systemic racism, buddy. What there is systemic propaganda, systemic lies. So thank you. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and read a bit of this article, which came out not that long ago. It wasn't around when I set the stream up, and now it is. It says, exclusive. Assassin's Creed Shadows' delay was to scale back Yasuke after historical backlash. This one comes from Francesco Solback. who's a relative newcomer to that Park Place, part of the whole reshuffling of staff that saw Marvin Montanaro walk in as well. And hail to Hypnotic. Thank you. Yeah, so this is a relatively new article, and I want to have a look at it because the last one I read by this guy was extremely comprehensive and very, very long. And there's probably quite a lot we could glean from reading it. So it says, that Park Place source has confirmed that Ubisoft delayed Assassin's Creed Shadows in order to make narrative cuts that severely limit the role of Yasuke in the story, which is clearly what we all assumed when they decided to delay the game. Of course it is. I mean, what is the single biggest backlash that they've had about this game? It's not the architecture, though that's terrible. It's not the tatami mats being the wrong shape. It's not stealing Sandai Kitetsu from One Piece or any of the other stuff. There's a few things. You know, the Nagasaki Torigate thing was pretty bad, although actually not necessarily provable as an insult on the level that we thought it might have been. But it's Yasuke, isn't it? It's fucking Yasuke. Yasuke is the epicenter of the backlash. It was the first thing we rebelled against, and it is still the chief concern. The fact that there is a fucking gigantic black dude running around, caving in people's skulls with a click of his fucking fingers, executing brutal executions on people, and cutting their arms off, cutting their heads off, yelling while he's doing it, running through brick walls. Just fucking nonsense. It's the biggest issue that anyone has in the game because it's the most likely to be complete and total fucking bullshit. And yes, like the stream, guys. Shout out to Hypno being here.
Like the stream.
There we go. So, yeah, we also, of course, learned fairly early on that there had been significant changes back in 2020 with the George Floyd shit, prompting Kada to write when Yasuke was running through walls that he's using the power of fentanyl to do it. But there you go. And it just, none of this makes any fucking sense. They really do think you're this stupid. Anyway, we'll crack on because there's a lot to get through. Says Ubisoft made headlines recently by delaying a game a whole month after delaying it for 3 months. Many assumed at the time that Shadows was a buggy mess, similar to Ubisoft's Star Wars Outlaws when it launched. And you'd be right for thinking so. Because even now, much closer to the release date, they still can't get the fucking gameplay right. That was the only thing they had to do was showcase that the game actually works. And a lot of people would have changed their tune. Couldn't even do that. Ubi, you are a dinosaur. Evolution has passed you by, my friend. And while that may have been true, early hands-on streams have shown more than a few glitches and bugs. We have it on good authority that there's something else going on behind the scenes. Good. I would be very welcoming of that. As YouTube host SkillUp mentioned after playing the game for 5 hours, he primarily played as Yasuke, but noted the experience was vastly different and inferior compared to playing as Naue. Interesting. I mean, have they legitimately nerfed Yasuke to the point where there's actually very little point in playing as him? Because that doesn't sound like a very pro-BLM thing to do. It's like, oh my God, people hate Yasuke. Well, we might as well make him disabled. Okay, that's not going to piss off the anti-racists, is it? Why is Yasuke so useless? Is this how you look at black people, Ubisoft? You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But you know, Ubisoft...
I don't really care, Margaret.
It is what it is. According to him, Yasuke lacks the same versatility as Naue, not just in combat, but also in exploration. Surprisingly, Yasuke doesn't have the same opportunities, such as climbing higher towers. This would be part of the recent headline, Yasuke is not an assassin. Well, I mean, he's also not a samurai, so in for a penny, in for a pound, right? Ubisoft, what are you doing? You've got an Assassin's Creed game where one of the characters is not even an assassin and cannot be an assassin. So, I mean, if you choose to play Assassin's Creed as Yasuke, are you even playing Assassin's Creed? That's a good question. This gave the impression that Yasuke is locked into a more limited, one-dimensional role within the game. That aligns with a rumor recently communicated by that Park Place source speaking under the condition of anonymity. Sorry about all the ads on this, by the way, guys. Recently, because I've been using Brave to try and get rid of the ads, all the stream videos were lagging and stalling, so I've switched back to using Chrome, but that's brought back the ads. According to our source, the $20 million delay of Assassin's Creed Shadows, $20 million. Do you know what I could do with $20 million? I could probably produce at least one really quite good game. I could certainly afford to rehire all my old devs and tell them, this time, boys, we're working on a game. They'd love that. Anyway, was not merely to polish the game, but to shift focus away from Yasuke as the main protagonist. They're finning him. That's what they're doing, man. They're fin him, to borrow some black lingo there. Evidence of this can already be seen in the marketing, where Yasuke is increasingly absent from prominent posters that feature Naoi more prominently instead. This is the thing, isn't it? This is the thing we see with the Assassin's Creed Shadows poster, the one that came out with all the characters on it, including the irritatingly precocious-looking little kid. Naoi is now front and center. Let me see if I can find an image of it. Hold on a second. Where are we? Come on, internet, don't let me down. All right, not the best quality, but it'll do. Now you see there were plenty of pictures of Yasuke front and center, eyes visible, face mostly visible within even that helmet. Now, oh no. Now he's just a nose and some lips. And if those lips were like 5% slimmer, he could probably pass for Japanese on this poster. No way they are doing this by accident. They 100% are trying to... I mean, who doesn't know at this point that Yasuke is... Oh, for fuck's sake. So now they're just making enemies of everybody. Absolutely ridiculous. This appears to be a reaction to the backlash Ubisoft has faced not only from longtime fans of the franchise, hello, but also from many Japanese critics angered by Yasuke's portrayal as a far more significant historical figure than he actually was. Exactly. Furthermore, rumors suggest that many of Yasuke's quests, including main and side content, have been removed or heavily altered. These cuts are reportedly intended to avoid offending Japanese audiences and historians who have criticized the game's historical inaccuracy. A significant portion of the controversy ties back to Thomas Lockley, whose work Ubisoft allegedly used as a primary inspiration for Yasuke's character. I cannot stress this enough. From the interactions that I've had with Japanese people, Lockley is a fucking pariah. They hate this guy. They cannot stand him at all. It's actually bonkers. I mean, they even call him Rokuri, like Rokkuri. He's that infamous. They fucking hate him. Then, of course, don't forget, Ubisoft lied. They said they had not worked with Lockley before Lockley then showed up on a Ubisoft stream. A podcast. For God's sake. Yasuke is Danny Pink. Yeah, more or less, yeah. Although, actually, Danny Pink was a fairly likable character in Doctor Who. Although, yeah, it was the first kind of DEI move for Doctor Who. 1 second, guys. I need some water here. There we go. Yes, Lockley the Liar. Absolutely. He co-authored African Samurai, the true story of Yasuke, a legendary black warrior in feudal Japan, has been accused of grossly exaggerating and fabricating much of Yasuke's history. His portrayal has been widely debunked by historians who argue that Yasuke was likely a bodyguard and servant rather than a legendary samurai, as Lockley claimed. Lockley's dismissal from discussions around the game has been subtle but noticeable. Ubisoft initially promoted him as a key source for the character, but has gone silent on his involvement. This silence coincides with a wave of backlash from scholars, particularly in Japan, who criticized Lockley's claims as speculative at best and outright false at worst. Hello, welcome to the party where everybody knows that Lockley is a fucking charlatan. It's rumored that some of Yasuke's content in the game, including quests tied to his supposed rise as a samurai, were directly influenced by Lockley's work and later removed to avoid further controversy. Backpedaling. You can't do this. I mean, how are you going to sell the game even to the left now? It's stupid. So basically, yes, Lockley did get run out of a university in Japan, more or less. Run out might be a little stronger term, but pretty much, yeah. He was, especially recently, he's been rendered an absolute pariah. You don't want anything to do with it. Anything at all. So there you go. Now, I mean, this is the thing, though. That there's one gap in the story that I don't quite understand. And that is, was he always a cultural Marxist, a woke-tard? Was he always one of these, Lockley? Was he just a primordial? Did he go to the Frankfurt School and, you know, was he a forerunner of DEI? Or was he just an idiot? Why did he do? Because this happened a while ago, before, you know, the really big push towards this shit. I guess the simplest answer is just an early captured thrall. Anyway, Ubisoft's response to the backlash seems to include a shift in marketing focus with a greater emphasis on Naoi's parkour system and the game's shinobi elements. Trailers that initially highlighted Yasuke's samurai way during the game's announcement are now conspicuously less centered on him, reflecting a clear pivot in how the game is presented. Whether this last-minute reworking can salvage the project or not remains to be seen. Okay, look it. You had this guy front and center in the trailer. He was one of the most prominent things. He was the most discussed thing. And for months and months and months, Ubisoft tried to bulldoze their way through everything. They tried to change Wikipedia. They tried to change the facts. They celebrated Yasuke. They had Lockley on a podcast. They were all in, doubling down, tripling down, quintupling down, centupling down on Yasuke. And then eventually they had to buckle. They had to admit defeat. They had to go back to the drawing board and try and find a way to do something about Yasuke. Unfortunately, they waited too long and they dug too deep before that. The Balrog is out. Okay. And now by the time they finally decided, okay, we are not winning this one. Japan fucking hates us. Too little, too late. Sure, you can delay the game for 3 months. But when you're not making any money and you've sunk hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars on flops like Skull and Bones and Star Wars Outlaws, they don't have time nor money to be able to do this comprehensive a rework. They should have just stuck with Takayama Uchi as was originally the plan. They have doubled down, tripled down, all that stuff. They've gambled and they've continued to let it roll, let it ride. And now their backs against the wall and they are fucked. Totally fucked. There's no way this is going to make enough of a difference. All you're going to end up with is a diluted, watered down version of what they originally intended, which is going to piss off just as many leftists as it is based normal men thinking, not consumers, customers who have a bit of critical thinking skill. So there you go. The coconut clappers from Python's Holy Grail. Yes, indeed. That's it. So there you go. And who's next after Electronic Farts? Probably Blizzard. Well, if the Activision tweets that we saw or the internal Slack messages that we saw last night or earlier today for you guys on WTF Live are any indication, yeah. Activision will probably ride up the ladder when Ubisoft falls down it. Kind of inevitable. From Samurai to Creed, Ubisoft rewrites Yasuke's role in Assassin's Creed Shadows, but it doesn't end there. Our sources state, sorry, I'm half asleep. I had nowhere near enough sleep, that Ubisoft's change in approach has gone even further. The delay was used to refine Naoi's parkour system significantly and to heavily alter many dialogue interactions between Yasuke, Naoi, and NPCs throughout the story. However, as our source mentioned, they could only do so much. What am I saying? What exactly have I said? Exactly. I swear I haven't read this. It's just that I've spent months studying this shit. Among these dialogue changes were discussions where Yasuke was previously presented as a samurai and celebrated for his renown amongst Japanese NPCs. Now, it seems this has been altered to focus on the Creed, which will be built by both main characters, with Naoi taking up a prominent role. Is Yasuke not a Templar then? because the way I was under, the impression I was under was that Yasuke, especially when we saw him wearing gold armor with a big cross on it, the impression I was under was that Nobunaga was a secret Templar, and that Yasuke would probably ultimately rebel against him or something, and that Naoe obviously is an assassin. Not that I fucking care. The only reason I'd be playing this game would be if people wanted me to and paid me to do it. Ubisoft has also reworked cutscenes where Yasuke was initially featured more prominently, with Naoe now portrayed as the driving force of the duo. From what we saw, they've re-recorded voice lines, maybe? Seems, yeah, he's bisexual too, yeah. They made him gay. They couldn't just leave him as a black samurai. They also had to make him gay. An Okama. Well, there you go. From what we understand, it feels almost as though Naoe has taken the lead role. Well, that certainly links up with what we saw in the recent trailer. Even though players will still have the option to switch between the two characters. Will they be able to switch on the fly like it looked like they were in the reaction video from Shohei Kondo? Or was that just clever editing? Who knows? Our source also stated that the delay was primarily aimed at re-evaluating Yasuke's role to avoid further bad press from historical fanatics. Historical fanatics? Historical fanatics? You mean people with knowledge? Actual historians? That is some fucking bias right there. Fanatics, guys. Will of the fanatics. Which, of course, is what fans short for. Ubisoft reportedly sought to minimize criticism from Japanese historians by making the game more historically accurate. So now you're calling Japanese historians fanatics. This is so completely the exact opposite attitude to what Sucker Punch brought to the table with Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, the historians in Japan were giving them keys to the city, freedom of the island. In this case, what are we getting? They're worried about fanatics. You mean truth tellers? Fuck's sake, man. It sounds like that sounds. I have no frame of reference for this except my own speculation, of course, but that sounds like, as it's in quotes, the kind of internal dialogue going on at Ubisoft. That's what it sounds like to me. Anyway, Ubisoft recently sought to minimize criticism, blah, 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 historically accurate where possible. However, as seen in recent previews, many inaccuracies still remain. Watermelons were not introduced. No, you're getting watermeloned. Were not introduced to Japan during the Sengoku era. Despite their presence in the game, watermelons were brought to Japan much later during the Edo period. Oh, yeah, it's the Sengoku era, not the Edo period. Stupid Will. Bad Will. See, Ubisoft, I can even yell at myself for being wrong. It's not that hard, you know. A little bit of integrity goes a long way, it turns out. Especially in this era where authenticity is the currency of the internet. Additionally, the game's depiction of Japan's seasons is historically and geographically inaccurate, with cherry blossoms incorrectly shown blooming during summer rather than spring, a glaring mistake given how iconic and culturally significant the Sakura season is in Japan. I said it yesterday. We have cherry trees in the UK. I had 3 growing outside my house as a kid. And yeah, they were pink. Pinkish whitish in spring. By summer, bright fucking green. No shit. Anyway, there you go. So, how much did Ubisoft really try to change? According to our source, the most egregious inaccuracies were related to Yasuke's portrayal, and efforts were made to mitigate these issues. However, they added, yes, watermelons in the chat. Gotta love it. Gotta love it, guys. Watermelons. And yeah, I know, Kira. I was trying to sort of gloss over it a little bit, but you have to address the elephant in the room. It's a black samurai surrounded by watermelons. Well, what do we say to that?
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Why are you running? Indeed. I mean, hey, if you want to have watermelons and eternal Sakura running around with to go with your black samurai, that's fine, but just don't call it a historical think piece. I've said this so many times now. I've said it so many times, but it still bears repeating. Assassin's Creed is a very unique animal in that I mean, it's not completely unique in all of fiction, but I mean, in video games, it is fairly unique. It is based largely on real places, time periods, and events. It supports the fiction in the diegesis by having everything else believably historically accurate so that you can say, well, you can't prove there weren't assassins and Templars in Renaissance Italy. You can't prove the Pope wasn't a monstrous Templar murderer. You know? It's that kind of thing. The suspension of disbelief. I've said it multiple times too. The Sonic the Hedgehog analogy. We will believe that if you present us with a story where a supersonic king blue hedgehog exists, or a sentient, borderline sentient bandicoot runs around, or a plumber who eats mushrooms and becomes 5 times his size, we'll believe that these things can happen. If you want us to, and you make it believable and you make it enjoyable. But if you go ahead and try and tell us things that we know weren't true to support an agenda, you fucked, bruh. You screwed yourself. You played yourself. There you go. Anyway, they added that there are still individuals within Ubisoft who remain adamant that Yasuke's character will resonate with players and become a success. This is not gonna fucking happen, Ubisoft. It's not gonna happen. It is not happening. How could you be so fucking blind? Like, how dense do you have to be? Like, the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over, expecting different results. No matter what you say, 90% of gamers are laughing their fucking heads off at Yasuke. He is a fucking meme. He is a George Floyd meme. Either way, it's shaping up to be a terrible month for Assassin's Creed, Shadows, and an even worse start to the year for Ubisoft. It doesn't help their case that Rise of the Ronin, another samurai-themed game developed by Team Ninja, the creators of Noah and Ninja Gaiden, Neo, has been well received and recently announced its PC release date for March 11th, just 9 days before Shadows. Shit, I didn't even know about that. Damn. Fuck. There you go, guys. Now you have something you can stream instead in protest. Rise of the Ronin. Fair enough. The timing will almost certainly siphon players away from Ubisoft, especially since Rise of the Ronin is expected to deliver a far more accurate and authentic samurai experience. One can't help but wonder if this was a deliberate move by the Japanese developers of Rise of the Ronin to send a pointed message to Ubisoft about their blatant historical ignorance. Wow. Quite fucking possibly. Quite possibly. What you guys said, yes, much better game. Yes, yes, yes. And there we go. That is what it's looking like. It is looking like that's going to be the result of this. By the way, guys, how are we feeling about the AAA industry? 94% are saying it will burn like tissue soaked in petrol. And so far, we are $12 towards our goal of 35. Just, just in case you wanted to know, for whatever reason. I suspect we'll soon hear more insider leaks about the troubled production of Shadows once the game officially releases. Oh, yeah, it'll be a deluge of fucking information once that happens. Based on current projections, seems destined for a lukewarm reception. I mean, I think lukewarm might be a little bit positive. Look, it's an Assassin's Creed game. It's a tentpole franchise for one of the biggest AAA companies in the world. It's very much got a normie base as well as anything else. Is it going to sell 10 million copies? Not likely. Is it going to sell 5 million copies? I still don't think so. Personally, I still don't think so. I really don't. I think probably a little bit better, maybe double what Dragon Age Veilguard did. Best case scenario for them, it sells a lot of copies and ends in a gigantic nuclear backlash as normies everywhere suddenly go, what the fuck? And yes, UK Gamer, I did see that Alyssa quit X. Happened around about the same time as Smash JT was sharing that video I made. Which, by the way, I will play if we hit our goal. Help me to help you. So there you go. Will February bring better news for Ubisoft, or is the steady stream of bad press that follows them bound to catch up entirely? Nice article. I'm a fan. I'll probably do a condensed version of that for a video. But yeah, there you go. So it does seem that it's just, this guy's very good at chronicling things. He's very good at building little digests. Why I appreciate his writing. But no, this is going to absolutely fuck itself. This is going to, yeah, shit the bed. There you go, Zork. There's no way this game comes out and actually succeeds in revitalizing this dying franchise for a dying company. I think at this point, even normies know Ubisoft is in big trouble. They know they're in huge trouble. They have to be betting, no, not betting, praying, ironically, for a goddamn miracle at this point. This game is not going to do what Valhalla did. This game is not going to do what Odyssey did. I doubt it will do what Origins did. At the end of the day, you've got a game that you have so completely shat the bed on in terms of design by committee, design by political agendas of the 21st century, backpedaling, pivoting, pandering. You are going to end up with a game that appeals to nobody. The Japanese fucking hate it. The based gamers fucking hate it. Historians fucking hate it. Nobody is interested. We're not buying what you're selling, Ubisoft. And the fact that they're in such terrible, dire straits financially through their own fucking hubris is poetic justice. If this game flops, Ubisoft is done. By all accounts, by all research and metrics that I've been able to look at over the last year, if this game does what most people are predicting it will do, this is the end of Ubisoft as we know it. And they are aware of it. Even with that said, could they have delayed it for longer to try and remove Yasuke entirely and do a Sonic the Hedgehog and just say, you know what, guys, we admit we're wrong about this. You guys are clearly not appreciating this. We're going to go ahead. We're going to pivot. We're going to redo it. Could they have done that? I mean, maybe a year ago. But probably not. No. It would cost a lot of money. They're saying it cost 20 million just to go back in, delay for 3 months and fix bugs, which they failed to do. You can't pet the fucking dog. The guy, I mean, you saw the video yesterday. The guy's like the elite guy that's just standing there getting run through with a sword over and over and over again. It's just standing there, not responding to it. The game isn't even functioning. It's fucking unbelievable. So no, if that's what it costs Ubisoft to do $20 million to do and fail at, then no, they never had a chance of going back and taking out Yasuke. None whatsoever. And it is clear that that's what they wanted to do. They know that they've lost too much already to be able to remove this character. They know that. So they have got no choice but to just diminish him a bit, which is, again, just diluting it. It's just going to piss off everybody. Because now the very convictions that they have been touting this entire time, they've abandoned as well. If a person has no convictions, they stand for nothing. If they stand for nothing, no one will support them. It's like a YouTuber who keeps flip-flopping their opinions. They stand for nothing. How can you get behind that? You simply can't. The reason our movement has done as well as it's done, Gamergate 2, is because we stand for something and we stand on business. We stand by it. So there you go. Yeah, there are bugs everywhere. Absolutely colossal bugs. I don't know if you're talking about Hypno watching the video, but if there's something else, no, I may not know about it. I'll certainly be happy to check that out at some point. Will of the fans, do you mean like Melanie Max, says Piranha Pout? Yes, that is exactly, it's not who I was thinking of, but that is an exactly perfect representation of what I'm talking about. Someone who just jumps from bandwagon to bandwagon to bandwagon to bandwagon. First you're a leftist, then you're based. Now you're a fucking devout. What's next, Melanie? What will you stand for next? Fucking nothing. So there you go. But it's not looking good. It's not looking good. I'm very, very keen for this one. I've been this has been kind of forefront in my mind for a long time. More so even than Dragon Age, more so than Concord, more so than Dustborn. I've been waiting for this one. Because this is going to give us an awful lot of data as YouTubers, as reporters, as gamers. We're going to get an awful lot of reflection from the industry, and we will be able to glean an awful lot about the state of the industry from this. So there you go. Speaking of the industry, we will get to that video, the one that I saw Hypno was reacting to yesterday, but I didn't get to see a lot of that because I was very, very busy at the time. So I'll be interested to see how I feel about it. But in the meantime, do we have anything to catch up on? No? Wow. Nobody loves Will? Oh, well, that's fine. That's up to you. Let me play that video. Okay. So we'll pivot there. But, yeah, no, Assassin's Creed. Shadows is fucked. They stand for nothing. Extremely, extremely disappointing. But as we move on, we'll continue with the video. This one from this small channel, Saber Path. Game dev versus DEI, my experience with DEI in the game industry. My bet is over the next 6 months, you're going to see an awful lot of stuff like this from various industries. Trump has made it okay to talk about it, finally. 1 second. He's made it okay to acknowledge that DEI isn't a conspiracy theory. It's not, just someone going, hey, it seems like there's an organized attempt here to lie to people and invent fake realities and push certain demographics and segregation and things. No, it's a fact. It's a fact. Trump has signed executive orders dedicated entirely to its eradication. Once again, the YouTubers were right. Nerdstradamus. There you go. So let's check this video out and see what this fella has to say, because it'll be an interesting one. And hopefully it will load today because I'm using Chrome, not Brave. But hey, let's roll the fucking dice, shall we? Why the hell not? We'll set it down on quality first. Nice thumbnail.
I want to share my insights on in the United States, an executive order was made to dismantle DEI programs within federal government and encourage private.
There it is. You see, first thing he talks about, the Trump response to DEI.
Sectors to end these initiatives. I'm a game developer, and I want to share my insights on DEI in the game industry. First, I want to go.
Do you know what's nice? Game developers coming out of the woodwork now, telling their stories. Game developers sounding off on this shit, like Sungren Studios and people like that. By the way, if you haven't seen his video from, I think it was yesterday, where he says he grills over the Assassin's Creed gameplay and proceeds literally to grill some burgers and sausages instead of watching it. Very funny. Very Sungren Studios. He has got a great, dry, sarcastic sense of humor I really enjoy.
Go over an article that covers diversity data collected by GDC. After that, I want to share my experience with the DEIB initiative at one of the companies I was working at. For those of you new here,
That's interesting. I wonder if he has the same demographic breakdown document that I've got about from GDC, the one with all the data you need, the one that's showing it, because there's all these articles coming out at the moment that everyone's covering, talking about like this percentage is women, this percentage is tranoids, this percentage is gay people. Yeah, I know, because I read it straight from the horse's mouth in the GDC document that John shared with me, which apparently is not publicly available. I didn't even know that. So scoop. Anyway, there you go.
my name is Mustafa. I am the solo developer of the indie studio that I founded, Suburb Path.
Is that how you pronounce that? I've always said Mustafa because of Austin Powers. Oh, well.
In the past, I've worked at Treyarch during the development of Black Ops 4, and I've worked at Zwift, which is an indoor cycling game. Right now, I develop and publish small games on Steam, such as Nexus Defenders, which is a narrative-driven tower defense game, and Beware Tomorrow, which is currently in development, a first-person stealth horror game. So,
oh, that sounds interesting. We don't get a lot of first-person stealth horror games. What's the last one I can think of? Well, I mean, stealth. That's kind of hard to say. But when I think of first-person stealth horror, the first thing that springs to mind, obviously, apart from the modern Resident Evil games, would be Doom 3. That could be interesting.
So first, I want to go over this article real quick that was published by thegamer.com very recently. They're announcing survey data.
Just one quick aside there, because UK Gamer asked. Yes, I believe that Assassin's Creed Shadows will be on Game Pass. I haven't seen anything to argue with that. It'll probably be on whatever Ubisoft's fucking thing is called now. Uplay, or is that the old one? I can't remember. Oh, well, anyway, let's get on with the video.
So first, I want to go over this article real quick that was published by thegamer.com very recently. They're announcing...
Yeah, this article from The Gamer is clearly based on that GDC document that I've got, because it lines up perfectly with it. They've clearly read this and they've decided to write about it.
Survey data that GDC, Game Developers Conference, has compiled. The main takeaways of this article are that males made 75% of developers in 2020 within the game industry, and in
what I mean, who's fucking shocked by that? Do you know what men like? Things, systems, tech. Women are, by and large, attracted to people, animals, living things, feelings, relationships, that sort of stuff. Men are attracted to stuff, things that work, how they work, how to build things that work, systems that need to function. This is how men work. It's why the two complement each other. So yeah, am I fucking surprised that 75% of game developers are male? Not remotely. Do I see a problem? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. These are the people that should be working on things, stuff, and systems. Men. It's what we do.
2024, it dropped down to 66%. But 33%.
Right, so they've gone from 1/4 to 1/3 women now. Yes, dear God, not the gamer. I know the gamer is the worst. They are scum.
Are women plus non-binary. This article also states that around...
Good question. Why is it presented as a bad thing? This is the thing. This is, I mean, the great unsung thing that finally is beginning to come to light. For years now, men, specifically white men, specifically straight white men, have been treated like cockroaches, like a pestilence that's not welcome. This is how we get a generation of depressed young men. And then they wonder why all these men are so depressed and lacking direction. Women wonder why they can't get a date with a real man. Because you fucking destroyed them. There's a generation of guys who are growing up into the world, leaving like high school and university, having been completely and totally convinced by systems of oppression, frankly, that they are useless, terrible, terrible scumbags who are only there as potential rapists.
Around 1/4 of game developers identify as LGBT plus. Another point that it focuses on is that 43%, so very close to 50% of all game developers between age 18 and 24, so Gen Z who are just coming straight out of college,
Yep.
identify as LGBT plus.
Of course they do. Once again, they've been propagandized to believe that this is the way they should be, that there's nothing wrong with it, that it's even encouraged. Obviously, we know full well from articles and leaks and things like that, that there are grown-ass, straight, white family men working in various entertainment and other industries who are outing themselves as sexualities and gender demographics that they do not actually belong to in order to continue working and have a chance at promotion. This is fucking sick. It's fucking sick. Well, there you go. Anyway, just a second. I'm just doing a little admin there. Sorry. Anyway, and we'll crack on. How are we doing on the poll now? Will the industry burn? 52 votes. Guys, you can vote in the poll. I know we're on a rotation here, but 94% are saying the industry is going to burn like paper soaked in petrol.
The point that this article brings up about women and non-binary people making 32% of the game industry. I don't want to analyze this number because once they clumped non-binary with women, the number means nothing. The term non-binary means nothing. It's just like that career fair that happened a couple years ago that was supposed to be for women and non-binary people, and then a bunch of men showed up.
Based, a bunch of fucking men showed up. Of course they fucking showed up because men are the ones who are looking for careers in this industry. We are nerds. Men are nerds. Even if you extend that, like I've very often had debates with people who are more jockey and sporty about how they're just different types of nerds. Sports nerds, mechanical nerds, science nerds, gaming nerds, movie nerds. Men are nerds. We're passionate about these things. We steep ourselves in knowledge. We measure each other by how much we know or don't know about our chosen fields of interest and passion. This is why you have hardcore gamers shitting on filthy casuals, because this is how men behave. Like, oh, so you say you're interested in blah, blah. Well, do you know this? We shit check each other. It's part of being a man. So, of course, these are the people who are going to show up at a career fair, even if it's designed for people that are not them, because the women and whatever fucking non-binary people are supposed to be that don't exist, of course, they don't care about that shit. All they care about is thoughts, feelings, and families and stuff. And the non-binaries only care about themselves.
Stating that they are non-binary, so they were allowed in. So the term non-binary means absolutely nothing. You just state it and you are.
There are not a lot of women gamers, yet they do exist. Of course they do. Yeah, absolutely. That's why when in our more naive days of the industry, people would believe that, you know, if you could get a girl gamer as your girlfriend, then you were winning. Well, I had a girl gamer as my girlfriend for a while until she ran off with a mate of mine who was competing in esports. It doesn't matter what girls are interested in. A fickle bitch is a fickle bitch.
With the fact that they are clumping non-binary with women, that also means that they are including trans women. It's 32% of women.
Well, guys, I don't know if you've heard this, but trans women are apparently women. It's ma'am. Did you know about this? Fuck's sake. Ludicrous.
Women plus
what's that girl gamer GIRL guy in real life?
men who want to state that there's something other than a man. So this statistic, it means nothing. I'm just gonna move on. So
he's absolutely fucking right. Again, it's the same argument. If you stand for nothing or you dilute the terms to so much an extent that they become meaningless, you stand for nothing, and once again, no one will get behind you. No one will get behind you. There you go.
Biggest two statistics within this article to point at are these two right here, that 24% of game developers identify as LGBT plus, and then 43% age 18 to 24 identify that as well. The main point that we can tie with this is when we look at how many people identify as that in total in the United States. They make up 7.2% of the United States, but yet they make up 24%, almost a quarter of the entire gaming industry. Nearly 20%, around a fifth of Gen Z identify as this, but almost half of game developers who are within Gen Z identify as this.
That's ridiculous. Overrepresentation is a thing. It absolutely is. What percentage was it? Like, let me go back.
Fifth of Gen Z identify as this, but almost,
which is already an astonishing leap generation over generation. 1/5.
Half of
but in gaming, half. Why? Because it's forced. Because they're only hiring people who are willing to say they identify that way.
Developers who are within Gen Z identify as this. So you're telling me if you take the 10 of the best and brightest game developers who are Gen Z, 6 of them are straight and 4 of them are LGBT plus. I don't buy that.
There's no such thing, buddy.
I feel like that this clearly indicates that these numbers are manufactured due to the hiring processes checking off boxes. And they're checking off very specific boxes. So,
and this guy fucking knows he's working in the industry.
Someone's race and who they sleep with have nothing to do with whether they should qualify for the job or not.
Oh, based. Absolutely fucking based. Destroyed. I like this guy. When I first saw this guy, I thought, what the hell's he on about? Blah, 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 blah. But no, he knows his shit. He is absolutely cooking.
In fact, these statistics and also the fact that the gamer is celebrating this article as if it's a good thing.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was one of the earliest episodes of this stream. I went over the entire document from GDC that was talking about this precise thing. Hang on, let me see if I can get it up. Phrasing. Where are we? It is in my folder somewhere. I'm just going to try and find it. State of Gaming. There we go. Hang on a second. Let me get this on screen for you guys. And we can see here, this was shared to me. It goes out only to devs, apparently. And this is from GDC, which of course is happening in March. And it's all just stats. And of course, everything's diverse. You've got developers of 2025. You've got breakdowns here. You've got gender, LGBTQ here. Fucking horseshit. It says here 35% are white, male, and not part of the LGBTQ community, which is in this red box as if to say it's bad, although it's not really red, it's pale. Then they've got which denominations you are, what race and ethnicities you are. Why is this on a fucking GDC document at all? It should be what games are selling, what gamers are playing, what the feedback has been like. Nothing to do with it. It's literally just the entire fucking thing is just a constant, unending breakdown. And then there's this cope with this flaccid dick of a fucking diagram here saying 1 in 10 game developers have been laid off in the past year. I wonder why, you fucking chumps. I wonder why indeed. Could it be that you are focusing on all the wrong shit? There's loads of people here, quotes, the gaming industry is killing me. Quote, still unemployed after a year. Quote, I had to get a job in a different industry. Quote, I have a new job, but it's a way worse pay level. Quote, yes, it was the worst job hunt I've had since I was a student. One guy says they've been laid off 3 times in the past year. Then we get into some actual detailed stuff to do with platforms and what people are playing on, then business stuff. But right at the top, front and fucking foremost, is a bunch of DEI obsessed bullshit. Then you've got advocacy toward the end here, section 7. They're talking about accessibility, diversity, sustainability, blah, 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 fucking irrelevant bollocks. talk about how to make something out of the games industry. Anyway, that's us beside the point for now. But back to the video. Oh, and shout out Smegheads. Hope you're doing all right.
Proves that this is an agenda that they've been trying to push. But then once you point out that's an agenda, they say, what agenda? There is no agenda. We're just trying to get representation and equality. We want fair opportunities for all game developers. If it's fair, then how come 7% of the population are getting a better chance into the game industry than the other 93%? The final point that I want to cover about this article is that a lot of people are saying this is proof that's not merit-based. Yes, I agree.
100%. It's decisive proof that merit has very little to do with it, because they try to say, oh, there was some cope shit that came out last week where I think it was even Alyssa. I think it was Alyssa who was trying to say like, oh no, we still absolutely hire based on merit. Yes, but you limit the pool of merit to only one particular demographic or a system of minute demographics. You eliminate 75% of the people who are looking for a job, and then you say you're hiring based on merit. Fuck you. Open it up to 100% and hire the best people from the entire population. This is discrimination by definition.
Probably going to be one of the few people that you'll find on here that's going to have a differing opinion. I do agree.
It's a dead weight endangering industry, DEI. I love that. You get so many creative acronyms for DEI.
Merit is important. The person's achievements, their skills, their work history. Yes, it is very important. But I don't believe that merit is the only factor that is important when hiring somebody. I do believe in hiring based on team synergy, hiring based on rapport, relationship.
Absolutely. You're going to have a pit of devs. You need them to be able to work with each other. Abso-fucking-lutely.
Based hiring. For example, one of my former coworkers.
To be fair, I would argue that comes into merit. You know, merit being your suitability for the job, as opposed to just your raw ability as a developer.
We've worked together for a really long time. If I have an opening on my team and my former coworker has the basic skills for that opening, I would offer him that opening because I know we both work really well together. We have a history together. We've worked well together. I know that he's a hard worker. He might not be the most skilled person. He might not have the best technical skills, but I know we have good synergy. I know he's a trustworthy person. And also I believe.
Okay. Yeah. I guess maybe that doesn't come under merit then. Yeah. But it is suitability still.
Believe that showing the potential to learn skills is also important. So while someone.
That's true too. You've got to be willing to be flexible and learn new stuff. How are we doing, guys? You're doing all right in the chat here. I can see you guys having a lot to say about this. Yeah. It's a good one. It's going to be good. This. I mean, how can you imagine like what I'm streaming at the weekends, Ocarina of Time, assuming we get to our goal. I mean, would that game have been anything like it was if they were hiring from the most minute pools of people that tick just certain boxes? Absolutely not. There would have been no chance in fucking hell that game or any media property or any product at all, even airplane doors, are going to actually be the best they can be while people are being hired based on the color of their skin, who they like to fuck, and their willingness to suck up to the systems. And there you go. That's it. Anyway, guys, we are 1/3 of the way towards the goal if you are so inclined.
One might not have.
Oh, and join the Grift Force. Get those emojis. I love to see them in the chat. Throw some spears.
The best merit on paper. I don't think merit is always the most important thing. Again, I'm not saying merit is worthless. I'm not saying it is not important. I'm just saying it's not always the most important thing. I joined Zwift back in.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's got to be a combination of merit along with, again, sense of teamwork and synergy. Synergy, like you said, that's the perfect thing. There you go. Gotta love it. Spears in the chat. Beautiful thing.
2019, and they're an indoor cycling company. Shortly after I joined, they started the DEIB initiative: diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. After the 2020 lockdown started and we were all sent to work from home, we were assigned to start taking these DEIB courses. And these courses were mandatory. This was one course that would educate us about our internal bias. For example, if we're hiring somebody and the person looks like us, we might be more lenient towards them. But if the person looks a little different, we might be a little bit more strict with the requirements for the position. And we might not hire them for that. And I can't remember if it was this specific course or if it was another course. I recall one of them that I had to watch, which was about the platinum rule. Now, we know
the platinum rule.
Oh, the golden rule. The golden rule is to treat others how we want to be treated.
Yeah, do unto others as you would be done by.
And I believe in that rule. Treat people with
absolutely everybody believes in that rule, or they should do anyway. If you don't believe in that rule, you're not fucking fit for society. Except, and I will say this, except when you're driving, okay? When you're driving, everyone's a wanker. No ifs or buts about it.
Respect to a degree. Now, the platinum rule, on the other hand, is treat people how they want to be treated. So in this video, we were taught that we're supposed to introduce ourselves with our pronouns and then ask the person, hey, what do you want to be called? What are your preferred pronouns? How do you want to be treated? These videos are very frustrating to watch because it is social reprogramming. It is teaching us to act in a different way that is not the norm in our culture. Or
this guy is absolutely fucking cooking with facts.
Any culture. Hey, thanks for sticking around with the video. I'm going to give a really brief interruption real quick. If you don't want to hear it, you can skip forward a little bit. I have timestamps on all my videos.
Oh, this is his game. Okay.
My next game, Beware Tomorrow, it's been delayed, but it should be coming out in the coming months very soon. It is a first-person stealth horror game, has puzzle elements to it. You are locked in the facility.
Sounds good.
With a deranged man who's hunting you down, and you have to solve.
Oh shit, like that other one. What was it called? Oh fuck, chat. What was it called years ago? There was when it was early PS4. You're like trapped in an asylum with a guy who's trying to kill you, and you've got like night vision and stuff. I can't think what the fuck that game was called. Christ. Oh well.
Puzzles to escape the facility. There's no DEI in the game. You don't have to.
No DEI. That sounds like a fucking win to me. Yeah, baby. Sure does. Let's come to Arizona. Nah, too close to Razor Fist.
Worry about misgendering anybody.
Outlast, of course. That's the one. And Evil Within actually fits that description pretty well too.
You won't be lectured to pull a barv. And if this game sounds interesting to you,
it won't be lectured to pull a barb. The guy knows. This guy knows. Man, I want to talk to this cat. Hypnotic. Let's get him on SNH.
Is in the description below. Wishlist it on Steam, and I'll let you guys know once I have a release date. Aside from having these LinkedIn learning courses, we also had these Zoom webinars with the DEIB department.
I fucking hate the term webinar. If you're the kind of shithead who is actually using the term webinar, you're a wanker.
One of these webinars was very lazy. They pulled up this video from YouTube and started playing it. 5 tips on being a better ally. Before I
oh no, the cringe. The cringe is off the charts.
No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Oh fuck, man, no. 5 tips on being a better ally. 5 tips. Wow, do I really need 5 tips on how to be a better ally?
I don't really care, Margaret.
For God's sake. God's sake. Webinar. It just immediately makes you sound like a pompous, sanctimonious fucking self-righteous asshole. Oh, you should watch my webinar. Fuck you.
Realized these webinars were not mandatory. I was attending these webinars because I thought I was supposed to.
Smegheads, damn, you beat me to it, he says. Let's have a look. For Australian 5, thank you very much, says, damn, you beat me to it. Webinar equals wanker. Abso-fucking-lutely. Anyone who hosts, and some people who choose to attend webinars are 100% wankers.
He's a smee. He's a smee. He's a smig. Hey.
You know, I need a clip. I need a particular clip that I had a while ago, and I think I might have lost it, but it was from the Fast Show, British comedy series, sketch comedy series, where they did a bit where they have a foreign channel where they don't speak English, although the foreign language that they've invented is riddled with English idiomatic language, and so they get to say all kinds of stuff on TV that you're not supposed to be able to say. There's one clip where there's some like foreign language disco dance and the backup singers are going wanker, wanker the whole time, and I need to get it back. I can't remember what I did with it. Fuck. Where is it? Have I still got it? I don't know. Let's carry on.
One of the earlier webinars, the topic was Know Your Privilege. It was for us to understand that our coworkers might not have lived as privileged of a life as we have. This webinar literally promoted prejudice by default.
Yes, that's exactly what it does.
Look at my coworkers.
This is the based fucking fact behind all of it. It is prejudice. I mean, I don't know how many million times I got to fucking say it, but not Are You Being Served or Benny Hill, but no, The Fast Show. It was from the 90s. It was a spin-off of Harry Enfield and Chums with Paul Whitehouse, Charlie Higson, and a bunch of those guys. Very funny show. A lot of catchphrase comedy. But yeah, this is the thing. You know, you can't have DEI. It cannot exist. It's an oxymoron. Diversity means discrimination. Equity means not equality. And inclusivity means excluding people. It's the antithesis of what it is, of what it professes to be. And the net result of it is literally just people being ostracized. And it is communism. Of course it is communism. Yes, that is what it is. At its base, that's what it is. For fuck's sake. Utterly ridiculous. Oh, well.
I assume they are just as educated as me, maybe even more educated, depending on their position. And whatever challenges in life they had, it shouldn't matter because everybody has challenges in their life. As a Muslim, I believe that every single person is tested and challenged. We all have tests and challenges that vary according to our capability.
Exactly.
Some people's challenges are more difficult than others, but the reason why those people's challenges are more difficult is because those people are stronger and are capable of taking on those challenges.
Wow. Based. Super fucking based. What is life if not a long story of rising to challenges? That is life. If you don't have what it takes to meet a challenge, come back when you do. Get better. Get good, scrub. This is it. I mean, this is why it's so satisfying when you do start to win against something that's difficult, because you have improved. Measurably, you are aware of your own improvement. And that is the most uplifting feeling in the world. I draw on my own experience probably way too much, but some of you guys enjoy it. Came to the Philippines, no money at all. Nothing in the bank, nothing in my wallet. A piano and some clothes. Now I have a wife, a kid, and a second kid on the way. In a nice house that we are just about able to afford. My father lives with us as well. And I spend every waking hour working or providing for them. I love it. It's a challenge that I am happy to say I am meeting. And you guys help with that as well, of course. So thank you. And I'm having a whale of a time doing something I really enjoy. I mean, I'm having such a great time lately doing this, especially since this show started. But again, it's a challenge. I mean, I only had 4 hours sleep. I streamed at 10 o'clock last night and 8 o'clock this morning. It wasn't easy, but I fucking love what I'm doing. I work, you work, guys. We work, we get better, we improve, we accept the challenge and we rise to meet it. This is the only way your life will ever be anything like satisfying.
The larger the challenge, the more we grow once we get through those challenges.
Beautiful, lovely, exactly.
And that's what I believe in. I should not look at my coworker and say, okay, this guy's black, he must be uneducated, and he grew up in the ghetto.
Right, you shouldn't do that. That's profiling. I mean, it could be, profiling happens for a reason, frankly. As I said, and I've said before, xenophobia, fear of the unknown, and profiling are all natural human behaviors because we don't have time to address every single thing that we meet as its own individual snowflake. We have to generalize in order to get on with our lives. Otherwise, we would never get anything done. Every single thing we run into, we would have to sit and study. No, of course not. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. But that doesn't mean that you should negatively profile absolutely everybody. You shouldn't assume based on the way someone looks that they are a certain set of negative behaviors. And thank you, Roger, for the appreciation. That, of course, is a bad thing. It's bad ethically and morally. It is, of course, something that people kind of have to do. Stereotypes exist for a reason. And James Opp is here. $5, James Opp. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate you. That takes us halfway to go. The wanker story reminds me of George Carlin's 7 words you can't say on TV. I know I'm old, but it's still a funny bit. That is one of the greatest comedy bits ever. He got himself arrested to be able to do that. They told him he would get arrested, and he did it anyway. What a fucking Chad. What a fucking Chad. I maintain to this day that George Carlin, I know he was fairly left. I don't believe he would be left now. I think he would go the same direction that Trump did, Musk has, everybody. I don't believe that George Carlin would be in any way in bed with the modern day Democrat Party. Not a fucking chance. They are the cabal. They are that super secret club that he talks about. The guy is a goddamn legend. And he needs to be listened to by more young people today. Absolutely does he. Hell yeah. And thank you for the follow. Go, guys. I appreciate the push towards the $35. It's not that much money. It does help me to justify taking time out of my Saturday to stream more Zelda for you guys. So if you want to see that, do drop me a super chat or join the Grift Force. Appreciate you.
That is literally racist for me to look down on him.
It is literally racist.
And think that Victim Olympics is not a productive conversation to have. I'm Arab. The FBI tapped my phone in the early 2000s. Patriot Act. I had it.
Yeah, that's not particularly great. You see, it's a tightrope walk. Like most things in life, there is nuance that needs to be adhered to. It needs to be observed.
Rough. Victim Olympics and trying to see who had it worse is not a productive conversation.
Exactly. There is no point in breaking down society through the lens of oppressor and oppressed. That is literally what Marxism does. This is the reason why the actual accurate definition of woke that no one ever seems to be able to give you, but that I sat and pondered for so long, eventually I boiled it down to cultural Marxism, or if you prefer, social Marxism. This is what woke is. This is what the oppression Olympics is. They all mean the same thing. You are, instead of using class or economic value or, you know, wealth as a metric, you are using personal denominations and identities to prescribe that people are either oppressor or oppressed. This cannot work. It will not function. It will break society. It has to. It can only break society. And if people are that fucking stupid, well, they are clearly, because we're living in clown world. Let's crack on.
So whichever end it is, whether it is to make myself feel higher and mighty than other people and look down at those who have it worse than me, that itself is racist. But then the other way around, get myself on the bottom of the totem pole, that's a victim mentality. And that's a terrible mindset to embrace. So both ends of the spectrum are terrible. We all have challenges, but at the same time, we all have things that we can be grateful for. What was very bizarre about this Know Your Privilege webinar, some of the employees were so brainwashed that they wanted to sacrifice themselves in front of the altar. There was a good number of people who raised their hand on Zoom, and then they got the chance to speak, and then they started saying, I understand.
Raising your fucking hand on Zoom. Oh, it's all so postmodern. It's all such shit. Oh, God, I hate it. I had to do these kinds of meetings sometimes when I had a company for a couple of years. Oh, it was so cringe. It was so cringe. These fucking like group calls where everyone's raising their fucking hands. Oh, it's like taking people back to school. You know why? Because you want people to be back in school, back on the back foot, having to take what you have to say at face value and take it on board and learn like a bunch of children. It is patronizing, it is condescending, and it is cringe. I fucking detest it. Absolutely fucking hate it. James Up is here for 2, says, and that guy's jaw, it will be in a woke game soon. This guy's jaw is quite big, isn't it? I don't know if that's the beard. Doesn't look like it. Looks like he's just got a quite large jaw. Does kind of look like the jawline that they've tried to put on Aloy from Horizon. Yeah, thank you very much, James. Yeah. All right, let's crack on.
Stand on privilege and this and privilege and that, and they were basically spilling their white guilt. Like I said before,
that's another one. White guilt. They spent generations convincing people that they were, you know, only in the positions they're in because of slave owners and blah 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 bollocks. If they really hate slavery that much, why don't they go to Africa and do something about it? It still exists there. Or in places in Southeast Asia, there are places here where there are slaves. It sucks. Do something about it. Stop attacking the countries that did away with it first.
This promotes the mentality of racism to make them think that they are better than other people. No one is born better than anybody else. Finally,
well, that's true. No one is born more inherently better than anyone else. Certainly, that is absolutely true. The problem here is the left have conflated the two things that are chief among the American sort of ideal. The idea that everyone is born equal, which is not actually true, by the way. Like, quantifiably, people are born with different skills. But I suppose in terms of basic human rights, absolutely people are born or created, depending on your particular flavor, equal. That much is demonstrable. The other thing is pursuit of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, right? So you are effectively saying everybody deserves, if you conflate these two things wrongly, as the communists do, you are effectively taking a lesson, the wrong lesson, that everyone is born equal and deserves to be equally happy all the way through their life. This is, of course, unnatural and impossible. And it is the basic central thesis of the great big fucking lie that is communism. Because in practice, nothing has ever happened as a result of communism except mass death and the consolidation of wealth around political ideologues and oligarchs.
I want to cover the DEIB department's initiative to gaslight.
Fucking DEIB. It's coming, guys. They're rebranding DEIB, DIB. It's coming. Belonging, they call it. What a nebulous fucking term.
Us on transgenderism. Let me explain.
Yeah, I'd love to watch your
points in the
video here,
system.
buddy.
You
But
gain
I don't have time.
This is because I'm slower than men.
Check out this game, Zwift, okay?
Because to make also there are different online events such as races for people to join. There are also some races that are exclusive for women.
Almost 70 likes, guys. Almost 70 likes, and literally what are we at? Like $16 away from goal.
So with that said, the game acknowledges there's a biological difference between men and women. That's why there are exclusive races for women, and that's why women gain experience points faster than men to make up for their lack of speed and inability to ride as far. Even though the game acknowledges these differences, therefore the company acknowledges these differences, the company also tried to gaslight us that there is no difference between a woman and a trans woman. I can't recall.
Well, of course they would do that. They once again, it's all based on falsely conflating things. And it's bullshit.
Who this guest speaker was, but they brought in a guest speaker from a third-party organization. And at the end of this...
Of course they did. I wonder what kind of third-party organization that was, guys. I wonder if it was a DEI consultancy firm. Oh, wait, but they don't exist, right? They don't exist. They don't actually function in society, or is that...
Theory.
This webinar, she was taking, I recall one employee asking if there is any sort of physical advantage for a trans woman to compete in women's sports. This guest speaker, she straight up said that there's lots of
fucking yes. Yes, there is. Obviously there is. If you dig up a dead, careful with my words here, tranoid, 20 years after they have died, or 1,000 years after they have died, and it was someone who claims to be a female, they are going to have male chromosomes, male bones.
Misinformation being spread about the advantages of trans women competing against women and that there are no differences. This is just a flat
Oh, fuck you. Are there no differences? Tell that to the fucking cage fighter who got a skull cracked.
out lie. So in 2018 in Connecticut, there was these two high school teenagers who competed in the girls track and field. And
absolutely. If that's true, why don't we get trans women in men's sports? Yeah. Or trans men in men's sports.
These two transgender teenagers, Terry Miller and Andrea Yearwood, they both like blew away the competition and broke
Yep, absolutely right.
all the girls' records for.
We also saw what happened with Riley Gaines. She was, of course, in What is a Woman, Matt Walsh's documentary. Whatever you think of Matt Walsh, it's a great film, and it's solid work, and it made a difference. Riley Gaines trained for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, busted her ass. Couple of guys come in and blitz her. Not even close.
The 100-meter dash. This was a pretty big thing in the news at the time.
Oh my God, what the fuck? Oh, that's what we were talking about yesterday. I did see that bit. That's Tyrene. I remember that.
I can't remember which one it was, whether it was Terry or Andrea. I think it was Andrea, but Andrea.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Is that a woman? You're having a giraffe. That is absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't even look close to a woman. That's just a man. That's just a dude. It's just a dude with dreads. I mean, fuck's sake, he might as well be just a Bob Marley cosplayer or something.
Andrea was asked to be a guest speaker with our company in 2020.
Andrea? For fuck's sake. You mean Andrew?
To talk
or
about
probably more
transgender
like Andre,
rights.
Actually. More like Andre, yeah. That ain't a woman. It's a man.
Sports.
He's got a mustache. You're right. He's got a fucking mustache. That is a dude. That is a bloke. That is a lad. What there? How you doing? My name's Andrea. I'm here to teach you about how trans women are actually fucking women. All right? And if you believe that, you are a mug.
I didn't attend this webinar at all, so I don't know how it went. But again, the company acknowledges that there's a biological difference between men and women.
Yeah, there is a biological difference between men and women. It's so... Oh, why do we even have to say this? What have you done to the world, you fucking idiots? Why do we have to say, is there a biological difference between men and women? You are taking the piss, bud.
But then brings on individuals like Andrea over here to promote transgender individuals to compete against women. Imagine a world where a company hires a full-time pest control associate for their company. This person's job is to make sure that all the pests, whether bugs, rodents, whatever, all the pests have to be cleared out of the building. And the moment that the person no longer has work to do, the company will have to let go of this position and lay off the full-time pest control associate. It's in that pest control associate's best interest to keep their job. So are they going to get rid of all the pests? No, they're going to keep some pests. In fact, they might even add more pests.
Well, that, of course, is absolutely the best analogy for it. Exactly. Why would you... It's the same reason that Big Pharma doesn't... What is it? There's Tom McDonald has a lyric. It's like, Big Pharma doesn't cure you, dog, because every customer that... No, because every patient that gets saved is a customer lost. That's it. Fucking love that dude's work. This is absolutely right. If you're pest control, why would you completely wipe them out? You leave a couple, so you have to come back and do it again.
Into the building so that they keep getting work. This is what DEI is like. DEI is a scam.
Completely correct. You set up the idea that there is a boogeyman to get rid of and then charge people to get rid of it. But you don't get rid of it. You actually make it worse. You use methods that actually exacerbate the problem rather than fixing it, so that it ends up getting even more vitriolic and violent and horrible, so that you never run out of work. It is a fucking scam in every possible way. Guys, you've got 10 minutes towards goal. I'd love to play that video. Help me out.
They need hatred to exist for their job to be stable. If a company has an issue with discrimination, they would bring in an expert, like do a little bit of training, then the expert moves on and leaves. just like pest control. Pest control comes in, does their job, goes out. But that's not how it is. DEI is a permanent position. For their position to stay relevant, they need people to be riled up and divided. And that's what DEI does. It promotes prejudice. They want people to look at someone of different race and have prejudices of that.
Exactly. So they didn't actually try to fix racism. They created anti-racism, which just flips who you're being racist to. Now, you might say that if you believe that there were massive amounts of oppression until about the 1990s between races, which there weren't, more like the 1960s, then you feel justified in spinning that round and flipping it on its ass and pointing it at the other people. However, that is not exactly true, and it will result only in another generation growing up feeling oppressed. You are creating oppression.
That person. They want sexual identity to be important so that it becomes a qualifier for hiring practices.
Exactly. It's like if I sit here and say, guys, whatever you do, do not think about a gigantic purple elephant. Do not think about a purple elephant. Purple elephants are bad. Do not think about purple elephants. We hate purple elephants. There are no purple elephants. Do not think about it.
This is a small bit of my experience with DEI. Honestly, this was a very frustrating video for me to record.
How many times did I just say purple elephant?
It's actually very frustrating for me to recall these experiences, but I feel like it's important for me to share this experience. Most people who work in the game industry and who go through these DEI or DEIB trainings, they don't speak out about it. And I think it's important to speak out because it promotes racism. It promotes looking down upon people. It promotes victim mindset. It promotes victim Olympics. It's a scam. And I really hope that it gets eradicated from the gaming industry. Anyways, if you got this far, I appreciate you, and it would help the algorithm.
Sorry, yes, I am actually racist against purple elephants. Fuck, what's wrong with me?
If you give the video a thumb.
Anyway, there you go. That was the video. Game dev versus DEI, my experience with DEI in the gaming industry. Very interesting. And it's always refreshing to get this from, I know they use the term authoritative sources, but this actually is one. So literally an insider who has experienced this and has decided to speak out about it. And more power to him for doing it. This is what we're seeing as a result of Donald Trump being back. Daddy's home. The driver is back in the car. You are able to move forward and start bulldozing through this shit. And now people are feeling galvanized. They're feeling allowed to say what they actually want to say, what they actually have been thinking. They are able to now have a voice to say, and it is fucking beautiful. Guys, support this guy. I just totally poached his entire video in front of you, and he's only got 2.38k subscribers. So if you like what he did, go over to Saberpath, no E, S-A-B-R, Path, and give him a watch, give him a like, give him a subscribe. Should definitely do that because he's obviously doing good work and he cares about what he's doing. We need more and more and more and more people like that in our fight against absolute insanity. But there you go. That is it. Now, we have got 8 minutes left before we are wrapping this bastard up. So I think it's time to have a little bit of a revisit of the Yasuke song because Japan is still pissed. This song came out several months ago. I made a video about it. It was one of the biggest videos I've ever had. It got to 60,000 views, which is astonishing for a channel my size, actually. And this is fucking hilarious. It is now at 101,000. Yeah. Hold on a second. I will share a link to the video. Sorry about that. Okay, it's right here. You guys can go ahead, click on it, check it out. Yeah, I made a video about the Yasuke song quite a while ago. It's got 101,000 likes. It is it's extremely popular. It's by a dude who calls himself Cabbage Man, Japanese dude, and it's AI generated, but it is fucking hilarious. The song is brilliant. Guys, if you can help me get to the goal by the end of the stream, I would love you long time. And well, there you go. Watch this while we consider that. Here we go.
安けないかいアシンクラの見さない主人公の安家実在の人物を出さなかった作品
日本を舞台に繰り広げるのは初めてで俺たち UBI サンシャインでもどうする日本は歴史が深いぞ難航する歴史決定ここで湧いてきたスイートベイビー奴らによればこれからのゲームにはいる識人種が必要不可欠そこで考えピストル出せ風の歴史改変侍信長ケチそこにたまたま
Yasuke! And along comes Yasuke. It's the only way, everyone thought. Do your best to prove the history. You're the best of guys who knows Japan. And we made it public, it was criticized. What should we do? Yasuke! Yasuke, Japan's pride. Tatami is square, rice harvesting in spring, burning incense at a shrine, all things you shouldn't do. We are immortal. It's a good song. It's a good laugh. This is, you know, just another example of how pissed off it is. This is a month ago. Honestly. Just a real Japanese system. Jesus Christ. It just yeets people fucking meters away from him. Oh God, it's amazing. Smackheads, once again, Australian $5, Chinese, Japanese, same thing, right? Ubisoft employee, yeah, abso-fucking-lutely. This is exactly what Kondo was saying in his video as well. They either don't care or they have deliberately done it. It is fucking cringe. Cringe, my friends. Absolutely cringe. Disgusting. Thank you very much. $10 to goal. Let's carry on. Elon, save us. Shut up. Hey, shut up. It's your I Brilliant. It's so well done. It is bad, you're right. It's bad, but it's funny. They have a right to be fucking furious. Absolutely fucking furious. And of course, if you look back there a few frames, no, not that far. Where were we? We had the original release date, which was 15th of November. So there we go. Popcorn Power. We should just tell Japan that the lead character is Johnny Somali. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, that is it then. We are at the end of our session. I'm sure everyone's going to go over and we'll probably all meet each other again in Hypno's chat. But there we go. Did we hit goal? Nope, not this time. Oh, well, never mind. There's always another chance. But there you go. We will go ahead and wrap up there. Thank you guys very much for joining me for this couple hours of Hyperdrive time. We've had a right laugh, roasting the ever-loving shit out of Assassin's Creed, and of course taking a look at Game Dev versus DEI, which again you guys can check out over here at the link I posted. Go and support the dude. It's a small channel. He needs a little bit of a boost because his message is obviously one that is worth seeing and hearing. Support all these people. Latest smeggers. Yeah, stoke me a clipper. I'll be back for breakfast. Obviously it's meant to be smoke me a kipper. Fucking what a guy. What a guy. If you don't have a clue what I'm talking about, watch Red Dwarf. You really should just watch Red Dwarf anyway. It's fantastic. One of these days I will get around to doing a proper review of it. In the meantime, I will leave you guys with the credits. Thank you very much to everybody who has shown up for this one. I'll be back again actually tomorrow. Very important. The show will be 1 hour earlier. I know, right? Fuck me, eh? But I have an appointment with my wife to go and see the doctor about our baby. So our second baby. So I'll be streaming an hour earlier so as to not miss out. And I want to keep this thing consistent, no random days off, things like that, at least not for the foreseeable future. So check it out an hour earlier than normal tomorrow. Thank you to Goji Ed, James Ops, and Smegheads for your kind contributions, and have a good one. I will leave you now with the credits, and I'll catch you next time. For now, this is Will signing off. Take it easy. Bye-bye.